Time now for that morning rush.
We start with Kristen Curry.
Good morning. Rain and snow has cleared. We are just left with mostly sunny conditions through this afternoon. It's actually going to be a really nice day because even our winds will stay light, less than 15 miles per hour. And temperatures on the cooler side, 50s and 60s nearly statewide. Fernanda.
Happening today, 2 more suspects in the case of 13-year-old Jeremiah Valencia's murder are scheduled to be in court. Tracy Pena, the boy's mom, and 19-year-old Jordan Nunez are set to go before a judge who could decide whether to keep the two locked up pending trial. This morning, jail records show Pena has been booked into the Santa Fe County Jail 22 times since 2009. Most of her arrests were for failure to appear, failure to comply, probation violation, drug charges, and shoplifting. More on the third person accused in Jeremiah's death coming up in the 5 Facts. Crystal?
On to news happening right now. The clock is ticking toward a Thursday night deadline. This is to avert another government shutdown. House lawmakers voted last night to pass a short-term spending bill that would keep the government funded until March 23rd. However, it's unclear if the Senate will follow suit. The move came just hours after President Trump welcomed the idea of another shutdown should Democrats fail to crack down on illegal immigration.
New at 6, stocks in Asia followed Wall Street's lead this morning, mostly rebounding from a major sell-off. Yesterday on Wall Street, it was another roller coaster ride before a late-day surge. The Dow gained 567 points and the Nasdaq jumped 148 points.
On to news happening right now. Authorities in Taiwan still searching for more than 100 people still missing following Tuesday's deadly earthquake. The 6.4 magnitude quake destroyed several buildings near Taiwan's east coast. More than 200 people were injured, some of them critically.
And happening right now, the DA is asking the legislature for more than $500,000 to try the Victoria Martins murder case. The Senate now has to decide if they will get that money. Michelle Martins, Fabian Gonzalez, and Jessica Kelly are all accused of raping, killing, and dismembering 10-year-old Victoria Martins at a Westside apartment in 2016. The DA wants the money for resources to try the case. Now, the House has already approved the money. We'll let you know if it gets the final approval.
On to news happening today. A man with nearly a dozen felony arrests in his record is expected in court this morning. We did some checking. Majestic Howard is in jail accused of driving a stolen car and having a stolen gun back in December. Today, a judge is expected to review his conditions of release. Howard has been released in the past. His cases keep getting dismissed because he's been found incompetent to stand trial.
New at 6, money will not be going to prevent suicides at the Gorge Bridge. The bridge near Taos is a common site for suicide jumps, but it's too old for improvements to stop people from jumping. Lawmakers were wanting money to pay for 3 state police officers to guard the bridge around the clock, but the House Finance Committee has blocked it from moving forward, saying it won't be effective.
On to news happening right now. We're still waiting to see if President Trump will get his military parade. The commander-in-chief is asking for that parade on the 4th of July in Washington. The Pentagon says it's still working on the planning phase. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the parade will allow Americans to show their appreciation to service members.
New this morning, South Korea is saying Kim Jong-un's sister will be part of North Korea's high-level delegation for the Winter Olympics. Kim Yo-jong will be the first member of the ruling Kim family to visit South Korea. She's a close advisor to her brother, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and considered a powerful figure in the North Korean regime.
Along those lines, South Korea is reviewing the request by the North for oil to refuel the ship carrying their Olympic delegation. The ship arrived in South Korea yesterday, carrying 114 members of the country's art troupe alongside 96 crew members. Sanctions passed by the UN back in December cut exports of gas, diesel, and other refined oil products to North Korea by a total of 89%. Seoul sees the Games as an opportunity to ease tensions with the North.
And also new at 6, we are learning Colts owner Jim Irsay will pay for the funerals of linebacker Edwin Jackson and his driver Jeffrey Monroe. The pair were killed when they were hit by Manuel Orrego Zavala, an undocumented immigrant. This morning he claims he wasn't in the car that hit them, despite being arrested with a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit. Kristen?
Today's Metro Threat Index only up to 1. We're just talking chilly temperatures out there now in the 20s and 30s. This afternoon, no problems. 50s, sunshine and light winds 5 to 15 out of the northwest. David?
New at 6, we're learning State Land Commissioner Aubrey Dunn is among the 3 candidates running for Martin Heinrich's state Senate seat. Dunn is one of several libertarians that have filed to run for office. Dunn tells the Journal he thinks there's a chance to pick up votes from both Democrats and Republicans. Incumbent Martin Heinrich is also running for re-election. Mick Rich, an Albuquerque contractor, is the only Republican in the race.
On to new details now. Doña Ana County Undersheriff Ken Roberts is no longer on the job this morning. He was fired yesterday after allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct surfaced. The sheriff says after an independent investigation, they found one of the complaints against Roberts was substantiated. Last month, Roberts was suspended without pay for 10 days and temporarily relieved of all supervisory duties. Roberts was named undersheriff in August of 2016.
New overnight, Las Vegas casino mogul Steve Wynn is out as chairman and CEO of Wynn Resorts. Wynn resigned amid allegations of sexual misconduct. A number of women say Wynn has harassed or assaulted them. Allegations Wynn denies. Wynn said an avalanche of negative publicity has created a rush to judgment and that he cannot continue to be effective in his current roles.
On to new details this morning. Dementia patients in care homes report better quality of life when they receive an extra hour of social interaction a week. That's according to a new UK study. Research shows when staff members ask patients about their interests and how they like to be cared for, the patients are less agitated. Kristen.
Coming up for a check on traffic, not seeing any major crashes or accidents out there. We do have some minor slowing Paseo eastbound as you approach I-25 and I-40 eastbound right near the 4th Street exit, but nothing major at the hour. We'll keep eyes on that for you.
New at 6, the execution fee for a U.S. passport is going up. Starting April 2nd, the price will increase from $25 to $35. The fee covers anyone using the DS-11 form. However, adults eligible to renew their passport by mail using the DS-82 form will not be charged the new fee.
On to news new at 6. Apple's now considering offering refunds to customers who replace their iPhone batteries before it offered a $50 discount. Since late December, Apple's been replacing batteries on older iPhones for just $29. The discount was part of its apology for secretly slowing down older iPhones. So get in on that if you've already replaced that battery.
I'm liking this Apple apology tour because I've got some iPhones I'd like to turn in, recycle. All right, it's time for the 5 facts.
Number 5 now is a battle on the court in last night's Lobo basketball game. Just before the buzzer, a brawl breaks out between the Boise State Broncos and Lobos. After some pushing from a rebounded shot, the players were eventually separated. After the game, the Lobo coach, Paul Weir, apologized for what happened. Unfortunately, the Lobos did lose 73-71.
And at number 4, Bernalillo County DA Raul Torres is asking for the state for more money to try the Victoria Martins murder case. Torres says they'll need over $500,000 for resources like DNA experts and investigative work. In July, Victoria's mother, Michelle Martins, will be the first suspect to go on trial. Then Fabian Gonzalez in October and Jessica Kelly the following year. Torres says he's also reassigning new prosecutors to the case.
At number 3, temperatures in the 50s and 60s for most locations today. Mostly sunny skies and light winds. Warmer temperatures on tap Thursday, Friday.
And number 2 now, the clock is ticking in Capitol Hill to avoid another government shutdown tomorrow night. That's when the deadline is. President Trump says he's counting on the shutdown to possibly motivate lawmakers for stronger immigration policy changes. Senate leaders, both sides of the aisle, have met and say a deal could be close. Earlier yesterday, I should say, the House voted to pass a short-term spending bill to provide new military funding, although that bill would expire next month.
And at number 1, 2 more suspects are expected in court today in the murder case of 13-year-old Jeremiah Valencia. More information is coming out about Jeremiah's mother's frequent time behind bars. Meanwhile, Thomas Ferguson, the mom's boyfriend and Jeremiah's accused killer, remains in jail. Prosecutors cited his violent criminal history yesterday in court. His defense acknowledged he violated probation. Now, Jeremiah's body was found last week, buried alongside a state road in Nambe.